are you still not subscribed to Matt's channel? Well, if you're not, hit the subscribe button because he's giving out free picks each and every week. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
Back this week with the rest of the AFC, guys. If you haven't already, check out the AFC North and Futures preview from last week. It is out everywhere you get podcasts and, of course, YouTube as well. This week, we'll look at the rest of the AFC. Next week, the NFC we'll look at as well. Systemsportscapping.com or link.me/systemcapping for client opportunities, records, client comments, and more all over there. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, it is much appreciated. A lot of my listeners of the podcast are over there these days. And also YouTube viewers, please like the video, comment. It does help out a ton. Just like last week, my thoughts on the rest of the AFC divisions, strength of schedule, win totals, odds for the division, and free future bets as well. For my best bets for the future market, sign up today, receive those at the end of the month, August, end of the month. I'll be completing my futures package for the season. There'll be at least one best bet in there, at least. I think right now I'm eyeing two, but there most likely will be two for best bets, and of course other full unit bets for the season. Limited time now, guys. $50 off the season package. Head over to the website. It is available over there. Let's get right into it. We're going to go through a little quicker than the AFC North. I kind of focus on the AFC North a little more as the main preview for the futures market. But let's get into the rest of the AFC here, starting with the AFC East, guys. AFC East, Bills minus 310 to win division. Pats plus 500. Dolphins plus 700. And the Jets plus 1,800. Guys, I could almost say it's guaranteed the Bills win unless they go through a bunch of injury issues, right? If they go through a bunch of injury issues, that's bad luck for you and your future's bad. That's all you can really say. But I never really lay large prices like that. You guys know that. I try to find value lines. I try to find good prices. But if you do like to bet almost for sure favorites, this is one of them, right? Bills to win the division minus 300. Of course, it's not a great price to bet, but I would say it's almost guaranteed unless there's a bunch of injuries, right? Which could happen, right? That's why I can't say it's 100%, right? I would say it's 95% because the odds that Josh Allen goes, even if Josh Allen goes down, right? I still probably think they win the division, right? It'd be close, right? Because Pats have gotten better. I don't think Dolphins are going to be great. We'll go over that here shortly. But yeah, so guaranteed almost, right? 95%. The Bills win. So is that good enough to pay 3-1? It's up to you, right? I actually may bet this, to be honest, but it's rare that I usually pull the trigger on big money line prices like this. Bills' fifth easiest schedule, guys. That's another reason why you're going to want to like this. Obviously, coming to the year with the MVP, Josh Allen. You can get 10.5 win total juiced. There are some 11.5s out there at around even money, some even plus money. So I actually would bet both over, guys. Now, 10.5 definitely over. I think this is a low-end team of 11 wins. Low-end team of 11 wins, guys. So that 10.5, if you don't mind laying juice, pull the trigger on that 100%. 11.5, you could get unlucky and they win 11 games. But that fifth easiest schedule, guys, come on, right? This team is most likely going to win, I would say, anywhere up to 14 games. I would more likely be comfortable with 12 to 13. So I would bet definitely over 10.5. I would bet the over 11.5 as well. You could get unlucky with the 11 wins. That's a low end for this team, in my opinion, guys. So Bills, we're pulling the trigger on the Bills here in the future market. Super Bowl odds plus 750. I'm not on the Bills in the Super Bowl. I don't think they're good enough on defense to pull the trigger. Even sometimes their weapons lack in the receiving game. I don't think they have enough to win the Super Bowl. They could make it there. It is possible, but I do believe the Ravens probably see them in a Ravens win this time around without Mark Andrews dropping an easy one to get into the end zone. Pats will be much improved this year, guys. Patriots will be improved. They added to that roster, had a good draft. And then does Drake May make that next step? That's the big question, right? So if he doesn't, then yeah, they're not going to improve. And if you do go all in on them for their future market and he doesn't play well, you could be in trouble, right? Second easiest schedule, guys, though. This is what has me, backing the Patriots, looking at the overs in the future market due to that second easiest schedule. Very important. Very important. And that's why you're seeing a win total of 7.5. Does scare me a little bit because I have a low end of them at 6 wins, right? Low end 6 wins, high, very high 9. I do believe they can get there due to the schedule. But again, everything's going to have to go right. Everything, right? Drake May is going to have to really take that big step forward, right? A lot of guys are going to have to step up. Some of the rookies are going to have to play well right away. Obviously, Diggs is going to have to come in and not be a head case. There's a lot of things that have to go right for the New England Patriots to win 8-9 games. But I do believe they can get to at least 7. And that 7.5, is a little bit worrisome. I'm going to stay away from a client bet. For podcast purpose, I'm going to lean the over 7.5 wins. I don't believe they really have a shot, obviously, to win the division unless everything goes wrong for the Bills, including big injuries, one of them being Josh Allen. But the Pats will, they'll be hanging around. They're not going to make the playoffs. But I do believe they could, at the very best, be in a wild card opportunity if everything goes right for this team. Again, guys, second easiest schedule. The Dolphins, 9th easiest schedule coming into the year. And this team is tough to predict coming into the year. Very difficult. You got an 8.5 total for them. I expect them to be around that win total. Low end, as low as 6. And high end would be 9. That's why I'm leaning the under 8.5 here, right? Not sold on their QB play. Obviously, their defense. Does Tyreek Hill want to be there? You got Waddle injured a lot. There's some injuries on this team. Can they stay healthy? I don't love McDonald either, their coach. A lot of things I don't like about this team. I'm staying away from them in the market. If I do bet it, actually would be under 8.5 wins, to be honest, guys. Not loving the vibes over there right now. I expect the Miami Dolphins to miss the playoffs. Jets, mid-table strength of schedule. Justin Fields' era has not looked good so far, at least in camp and preseason. I'm not high on them. The books aren't either, right? 5.5 win total. 5.5 win total, guys. I'll be staying away from the Jets in the future market. Hard to predict that 5.5, to be honest. It could land low end 4 wins, high end, I think 7's a little high, but high end, right? Max wins for them would be 7 in my eyes. So yeah, I don't really know what to expect from this Jets team. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Does Justin Fields put it together and play well? I doubt it, guys. I doubt it, right? I believe they're going to struggle to score points. Their defense is just questionable. I'm staying away from this Jets team. I suggest you guys do fade the Jets like in, regular season games and stuff. I'll be doing that definitely this season. AFC South, let's get into it. Texans minus 105, Jags plus 300, Colts plus 375, Titans plus 800, a little closer division, right? Last year I had a best bet winner on the Texans to win the division, and it cashed. Indy kind of made it close. They made a little run there to make it close, but the Texans prevailed in the end. And guys, let's be honest. On paper, this Texans team should win again. They should win the AFC South again, right? Great coaching. They obviously have the QB game. They have the QB play, even though he did take a little bit of step back last year. The weapons are there for him. They got the top pass rushers in the NFL duel, at least. Stroud, right? Is he going to take that step forward? Is he kind of just continue to play where he is? You got a 9.5 win total, and you do have the 8th toughest schedule. So they don't have an easy schedule. That's worth mentioning here. I would lean the 9.5 over at 10 wins for this team. Max 11 again. Last year they got to 11. They could get there again. The schedule isn't the greatest for them, but I can definitely see 10 wins. I can see 10 wins winning this division as well. If everything goes perfectly for the Houston Texans, I mean, everything goes. Stroud takes that step up. The defense plays lights out. Someone's, they get a good run game. Joe Mixon, Collins stays healthy. This team could pull off a win in the playoffs, make a little bit of some, little noise in the playoffs. But that's going to be a high end for this team. I just believe, they win the division and out first round, maybe second, and they continue to build and continue to get better with Stroud. If the Jags get better play from Trevor Lawrence, if Hunter can adapt quickly, Thomas, we know he's legit wide receiver 1. This team could be fun to watch on paper. Does it translate to wins, though, right? Their D, we don't know. Hunter, is he going to play both? I think he may play corner as well. That probably will help them out. Question marks, though. He's a rookie as well, right? How is he going to adapt right away? They do have a favorable schedule. 6th easiest, guys. Win total 7.5. Very difficult for me to handicap that 7.5 and to have a confident bet on the 7.5 here, because there's a lot of unknowns with this team, right? Trevor Lawrence, how is he going to look? How is Hunter going to adapt in the NFL? How's their defense going to play? Are they going to get a solid run game throughout the year? A lot of questions with the Jags, right? Low end, I have them at 6 wins, right? And then a high end would be 9. So that tells you I don't really know what's going to happen with this team. But they are capable of, pushing for the division if Houston fails, and maybe hanging around for a wild card as a high end for this Jags team. Interesting, though. I'll be excited to watch their offense, watch some games from them throughout the season. Colts have weapons, guys. Question is QB, right? They just announced Daniel Jones is taking over. Anthony Richardson is officially a bust. You can call him a bust last year. You can say it's still too early. I don't know. So far, he's a bust. At least you can say. Some defensive issues at times with this Colts team as well. 12th toughest schedule this year. That is worth mentioning here. Say it's mid, little harder than mid-table. 7.5 win total. I would lean the over on the 7.5. I think they can get to 8 wins, this team. 8 to 9 wins. 9 wins probably be, I say 10 wins would be max. That's if their QB play is there, right? They got the running game. They got the weapons for the pass game. The question mark is the QB and the defense, right? That's what the question mark is with this team. But I think they get at least 8 wins. I think a low end is like 7. So that's 7.5 total. I do believe they can get over. I'll probably be staying away from a bet on the Colts for future purposes due to the QB situation. It's just not rock solid, right? So when I don't have a lot of points that hit, a lot of rock solid points, QB being very important, it's hard for me to pull the trigger. I don't know how good Daniel Jones is going to look. Let's be honest. Nobody knows how good he's going to look. Is he going to be an upgrade from Anthony Richardson? Anthony Richardson going to come back mid-season because Daniel Jones didn't play well? A lot of questions for this Colts team. Question marks means you don't get my money or my clients. And the Titans could be a fun team to watch, right? The Cam Ward experience. I'm excited to see how he plays. He has Ridley there. That should be a fun duel there. A couple other younger receivers. The D's obviously the question. Rookie QB. How much do you expect, right, from this team? They're not going to be pushing for the division. They got the 8th easiest schedule, which will help them. And their win total is 5.5. Right? I'm going to say, low end, this team wins 4, right? If Ward just kind of struggles throughout the year. High end, this team, I think 7 would be a high end. That means Cam Ward really found it quickly in the NFL. He's able to play and adapt to the NFL fairly quickly. Again, 5, 6 wins is where I have them. That 5.5 is tough to bet here, so I'll be staying away on that total. But yeah, I think, Cam Ward, watching, see how he adapts, see how quickly he looked pretty good in preseason. So maybe he can adapt quickly, and the Titans may have found a long-term starter. AFC West. Chiefs minus 110. Broncos plus 300. Chargers plus 300. Raiders plus 1,600. This is the first time in a long time, guys. The Chiefs are slight favorites. Slight favorites. Guys, the last time I saw the Chiefs minus 110 in the win division, long time. And why? Because the Broncos and the Chargers continue to get better. And the Chiefs aren't really getting better. They're just the same pretty much old team, let's be honest, guys. Right? And that's a good team, obviously, right? Let's not beat around the bush. Chiefs do have a tough schedule, 6 hardest coming into the season. 11.5 win total, right? I think they're low end 9, very low end 9, up to, 13 wins. So this team could be all over the place. I do believe they take a little bit of a step back this year. I don't like betting against this team in the playoffs. Regular season, I'm okay to do it, right? They struggle to cover games throughout the year. Not a team that covers a lot. And you can pick on them a little bit in the spread market throughout the season. But in the playoffs, they show up in the playoffs. So let's be honest, besides the Super Bowl last year. But, they show up when it matters. You can say, I don't see them getting back to the Super Bowl this year. But, hey, they've proved me wrong before. So I think, the Ravens or Bills make a step forward and beat them this year. I do believe they have better teams than the Chiefs. The Broncos took a step forward with 10 wins last year, guys. They found a quarterback in Nix. Got a good team. They drafted well. Mid-table strength of schedule, so no concerns really there. And they got a 9.5 win total. Are they worse than the 10 wins last year? No, I think they're better. So I think I would play the 9.5 over. You could be biting your nails because it could be 10 again, right? 10 wins. Is 10 wins enough to threaten the Chiefs in the division? Possibly. I think it's going to be close. I would still bet the Chiefs to win the division. Don't get me wrong, especially at that price. Prove me wrong until I don't bet against the Chiefs to win this division. Broncos are going to be right there. And I expect them to push them for this division. Another team that could push the Chiefs for the division is the Chargers, right? I believe Denver and the Chargers are right there. They both got better. Same strength of schedule, mid-table, so no concerns there. Am I brave enough to bet them on their win total over 9.5? Again, it's going to be like the Broncos. Could be 10 wins, right? Low-end Chargers wins 8, right? They could just not get some injuries, not play as expected. And, high I would get all the way up to 11. So, yeah, 9.5, I would play the over on the Chargers here. I believe they got a legit running back, too, now with Hampton. Does he translate quickly enough to get this team to 10, 11 wins? That'll be the question. But I like this Chargers team. I think they'll be pushing for a wild card spot with Denver and pushing for the division. So I think it's going to be a fun division to watch, guys. Very fun. I believe the Chargers and Broncos are at very even playing field, and those games are going to be great. They will play each other twice, of course. Raiders. Yeah, you could say they got better. They drafted Genti, upgraded their QB situation slightly with Geno Smith and brought in Pete Carroll as a head coach. So, yeah, I do believe they got better. Still a lot of questions, though, mainly on the defensive side of the ball and at wide receiver. But we know they got one of the best tight ends in Bauer. They're just not the best schedule. Around mid-pack, a lot of changes also can take time to adapt, right, with this team. Win total is 6.5. I have max 8 wins for this team. That's everything goes right. Low end would be 5 wins. So that 6.5 is tough. It's right in the middle for me, and there's a lot of changes, like I mentioned. Again, I do believe the Chargers team is better. They have a few weapons to really get going. Genti, the tight end, one of the best tight ends in the NFL. Geno Smith is an upgrade. Not a huge upgrade, but he's an upgrade. I think they get 7 wins. That's going to be my guess. So that over 6.5, you're going to be biting your nails. But I said they could get up to 8 wins if everything goes right. So lean the over 6.5. Not going to make my client card, but for podcast purposes, I will get there. That will do it. That was the rest of the AFC. Hopefully you guys gave you guys a bunch of free picks there, guys. There's a bunch. Some of those will be client as well. So keep that in mind. We'll be back after I'll be in San Diego for a week, enjoying my time out there. Also got to get the Circa contest all figured out as well. Be studying for that for week 1 and the Survivor, etc. So looking forward to that. Going to see a client out in San Diego as well. So yeah, it's going to be a nice week off before the madness begins, right? No UFC next week. No NFL football. Great week to go away. So I have the week off. Going to enjoy myself at the beach in La Jolla and whatnot over there in San Diego. Next Sunday, Monday, the NFC preview will be out. So look out for that. Like I always say, guys, bet smart and know your limits. We will see you soon.